The rope bit deep into her wrists, rough bark scraping her back raw as the wind whipped dust into her eyes. Sarah Whitlock squinted through the grit, lips curling into a half-smile, half-snarl. The townsfolk stood in a loose circle, muttering, their faces twisted in self-righteous scorn. Deputy Clem Hargrove stood front and center, hand resting on his belt, boots planted firm, like he was posing for a portrait of frontier justice. "She's a liar!" Clem's voice rang out, sharp and hard. "A harlot who thought she could bring her shame into our town. Already pregnant, before she even set foot in Dry Creek. We won't have it!" Sarah's laugh cracked the silence, dry as the desert air. "Shame? You don't know the first thing about shame, Clem." She spat at his boots, the glob of spit landing in the dust with a soft thud. "You ordered me. You wanted a wife, and you got one. The child's mine, not yours, and that burns you more than the sun ever could." A murmur ran through the crowd, some shifting uncomfortably, others tightening their grip on old grudges. Clem's face darkened, but he didn't move. "Not yet. You'll hang here, Sarah Whitlock, until the good Lord decides what to do with your wicked soul." She tilted her head, eyes glinting. "Tell him to hurry up. I've got better places to be." The crowd didn't laugh, but they didn't speak either. They just stood, waiting, hoping maybe the desert would do the dirty work for them. The judgment tree didn't need a noose, just time. Time and heat. The sun climbed higher, baking the ground, drawing sweat from her skin as her breath grew shallow. Every minute stretched, her limbs heavy, but her gaze never wavered. She watched them watch her, daring any of them to do more. From the ridge beyond town, a lone rider paused, dark against the pale sky. His eyes narrowed, jaw clenched. Red Wolf had seen enough towns like this, small minds with big laws. His horse shifted beneath him, but he didn't move, not yet. He waited, watching her. She didn't beg. Didn't cry. Just stared them down like she'd win the whole damn fight tied to a tree. Clem stepped closer, voice low now, meant only for her. "I could cut you loose. Could make all this go away. Marry you anyway. Say the child's mine. Folks'll forget." Her head rolled back, and she laughed, loud and sharp, cutting through the thick air like a blade. "You're not man enough, Clem. You couldn't handle me on your best day. Now go on, let the sun finish me off, since you're too much of a coward to do it yourself." His hand twitched near his pistol, but he stopped short. A coward she called him, and he couldn't prove her wrong. Not now. Not here. Red Wolf nudged his horse forward, slow and steady, eyes locked on the scene below. Towns like Dry Creek had their own kind of rot, but he wasn't here to play judge. He'd heard whispers about this place, about a woman chained for being what she was. He hadn't believed it, not until now. As he rode into town, the crowd parted uneasy. No one called out. No one dared. Clem turned, squinting. "You got no business here, Injun." Red Wolf dismounted, slow, deliberate. "Maybe not. Maybe I just like watching fools bake in the sun." Clem puffed up. "We're handling our own. Don't need your kind stirring trouble." Red Wolf's gaze swept from Clem to Sarah, then back. "Looks like you already got plenty of trouble. She yours?" Clem didn't answer, but the flush on his neck spoke loud enough. Red Wolf stepped closer to the tree. Sarah looked up, eyes sharp despite the haze. "You here to watch or help? You talk too much to die today," he said, drawing a knife from his belt. Clem's hand flew to his gun. "You cut her loose, and you'll both swing." Red Wolf didn't flinch. "You think you can hang me, try." The knife sliced through the rope with a swift motion, Sarah stumbling forward into his arms, legs weak but pride unbroken. Clem's pistol rose, but Red Wolf's free hand reached for his tomahawk, eyes locked. "You sure you want to start this fight, deputy?" Red Wolf asked, voice calm. Clem hesitated, sweat beating at his temple. The crowd held their breath, waiting for blood. Sarah straightened, pulling away, standing on her own feet. "Go ahead, Clem. Do it. Prove you're the man you claim to be." The moment stretched thin, taut as a wire. Then Clem lowered his gun, spitting in the dirt. Get out. Both of you. Don't come back. Red Wolf nodded, turning, helping Sarah onto his horse. She didn't look back as they rode away, the crowd slowly dispersing, whispers trailing behind them like dust in the wind. They rode in silence for a time, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows over the dry earth. Sarah leaned against him, breathing steady now, though her wrists still burned. "Why'd you help me?" she asked. Red Wolf didn't answer right away. "Because I knew a man named Whitlock. He owed me. Thought maybe you'd settle his debt." Her eyes narrowed. "Jack's dead? His debts aren't." Red Wolf looked ahead, the horizon endless. "And I think you know where he left what he stole." She smiled, slow and dangerous. "Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. What's it worth to you?" He chuckled, low and dark. "Enough to keep you alive." "Long enough." The desert stretched before them, full of old ghosts and new sins. And neither of them was done yet. The night air stung her lungs, cold against the fire in her veins as the horse galloped across the open plain. Sarah clung to Red Wolf, her hands gripping leather and muscle, every bump shooting pain through her wrists. Behind them, Dry Creek shrank into the dark, its twisted justice left smoldering in her mind like a brand. The rope burns throbbed, but her heart beat louder. She wasn't dead. Not yet. And whoever thought she'd die easy was in for a long, bitter surprise. Red Wolf didn't speak, not for miles. His eyes stayed ahead, scanning the horizon, every movement precise, like he'd lived in this land longer than the dirt itself. Sarah felt the tension in him. He wasn't rescuing her out of kindness. She'd seen that look before, in men who hunted with purpose. She wasn't sure if she was the prey or the bait. They reached a rocky outcrop as dawn threatened the sky, pale light creeping over the hills. Red Wolf pulled the horse to a stop, sliding off without a word. Sarah eased down, legs shaking, every muscle sore but stubborn. "You got a plan?" she asked, leaning against a boulder, catching her breath. He crouched near a small fire pit, hands moving quickly to spark flame. "Live through the night. Decide after." "Not much of a plan. Better than dying." The fire caught, casting flickering shadows on his face. He handed her a strip of dried meat, which she took, chewing slowly. Her eyes didn't leave him. He wasn't a talker, but she didn't need him to be. She'd learned to read men without words. "You know Jack," she said, voice low, testing. He nodded. "I knew him. He's dead." "I know. You hate him?" His eyes flicked to hers, sharp. "Do you?" She smirked. "Enough." He leaned back, firelight dancing across his face. "He stole from my people. Lied, killed. Left others to pay." She chewed slower. "He left me with nothing but this." She touched her belly. "And a town ready to watch me rot. You said the gold's gone?" I said maybe. Maybe not." Silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. "You owe him?" she asked. "I owe myself." His gaze didn't waver. "You know where it is." "Wouldn't matter if I did. Men have died looking. Men who didn't know where to look." She laughed dry. "You think you'll do better? I think you'll tell me." Sarah leaned in, eyes narrowed. "And why would I do that?" "Because they'll come for you. Boone. Clem. They won't stop." She tossed the meat aside, rising to her feet. "They think they scare me? Clem couldn't even pull the trigger. He will next time." She stepped closer, close enough to feel the heat off him. "Then let him try." He didn't move. "You fight hard for someone running. I fight hard because I've got something to live for." Red Wolf stood, towering over her. "Then help me find the gold. Burn Dry Creek to the ground." Her breath hitched. The idea hit like whiskey, hot, reckless, tempting. "And after?" she asked. "After you go your way. I go mine." She looked past him, to the empty land stretching far beyond the firelight. "You know where he'd hide it. I know where he wouldn't." Her mind raced. She'd followed Jack long enough to know his lies. She knew his marks, his tricks. And if this man wanted revenge, maybe she could trade his fire for her freedom. "There's a place," she said slowly, testing each word. "Old mine, North Ridge. Jack used to talk about it." Red Wolf nodded. "We go at first light." "You trust me that easy?" "No. But you want them dead as much as I do." The fire crackled between them, the only sound in the waking world. Sarah sat again, staring into the flames. "He used to say no one would ever find it. That he'd die before giving it up. He did." She smiled, cold and sharp. "Now it's ours." The sky bled orange, light chasing shadows back into the earth. Red Wolf broke camp with swift, practiced hands. Sarah helped, ignoring the ache in her body, her mind locked on the road ahead. She wasn't running. Not anymore. As they rode toward the ridge, the land opened wide, every rise and fall familiar yet foreign. She'd followed Jack across these hills, watched him lie, cheat, kill. Now she rode with his ghost at her back, and a man beside her who wanted more than gold. He wanted justice. The mine loomed in the distance, half buried in rock and time. Red Wolf slowed, eyes scanning the ground. "Tracks." Sarah followed his gaze. "Hoofprints, deep and fresh." "Boone?" she asked. "Maybe. Or Clem." They dismounted, moving quiet, careful. The entrance yawned like a mouth, darkness waiting inside. Red Wolf handed her a pistol. "You shoot? Better than you think." Inside, the air turned cold, thick with dust and memories. Sarah led the way, her steps sure. She remembered the path, the places Jack would stash supplies, hide from the law. They found the stash, not gold, not yet, but maps, old papers, and a crate of dynamite. Red Wolf ran his hand over the crate. "He planned to blow it. Or anyone who followed." Voices echoed from outside. Red Wolf grabbed her arm, pulling her into the shadows. Boone's voice rang clear. "They're here. Find them." Sarah gripped the pistol tight, heart pounding. "You ready?" Red Wolf whispered. "Always." The past was over. The fight was now. Blood spattered the rocks as the first bullet ripped through the air, the sharp crack echoing through the narrow canyon. Sarah dove behind a jagged outcrop, gun in hand, her breath short, sharp. Red Wolf was already firing, every shot measured, every movement exact. Boone's men weren't waiting, they were closing in, fast, their boots pounding the dirt like thunder. 6 of them. Red Wolf growled, reloading without looking. "We hold here or we die." Sarah's hands shook for a heartbeat, then steadied. Her eyes locked on the path ahead, 2 shadows moving fast, rifles raised. She fired, the kick slamming into her shoulder, but one dropped hard, the other stumbling back. "I've got 2 bullets left," she snapped. "Make them count." Dust clouded the air, thick with gunpowder and sweat. A shot sparked off the rock near her head, chips flying. She rolled low, crawling to the next cover, heart hammering. Her belly ached tight, but there was no time to care. She popped up, aimed, and fired. Another man fell, screaming, clutching his thigh. Boone's voice roared over the chaos. "Find the girl! Take her alive! Kill the redskin!" Sarah's lip curled. She wasn't anyone's prize. She wasn't running anymore. Red Wolf lunged from cover, tomahawk flashing. One of Boone's men didn't see it coming. His skull cracked open, dropping him like a sack. Red Wolf took a hit to the side, a grunt of pain, but he didn't slow. He grabbed the fallen man's rifle, spinning, eyes locked on Boone's figure up the ridge. "Cover me!" he barked. Sarah nodded, firing her last shot at the shooter above them. Missed. She scrambled for the dead man's gun, fingers slipping on blood-slick metal. She grabbed it, checked the chamber. Loaded. "Boone!" she shouted, voice slicing through the din. "Come get me yourself, you bastard!" Boone stepped forward, a grin splitting his face. "Gladly." He raised his rifle, aiming straight for her, but Red Wolf's shot rang out, hitting Boone's weapon, sending it spinning from his hands. Boone cursed, diving behind cover. The rest of his men hesitated, uncertain, outnumbered now. Red Wolf pressed the advantage, moving like a shadow, silent and deadly. Sarah stood tall, gun ready, daring them to come closer. One man ran. Another dropped his gun, hands raised. Boone didn't. He lunged from behind the rocks, knife in hand, eyes wild. Sarah didn't flinch. She fired once, the shot tearing through his shoulder, spinning him around. Red Wolf was on him in an instant, boots slamming into Boone's chest, sending him crashing to the ground. Enough, Red Wolf growled. Boone gasped, blood bubbling on his lips. You think you've won? Sarah stepped over, looking down at him, breathing hard. You're done. Dry Creek's done. Boone laughed, a raw, broken sound. Clem's coming. He's bringing the whole town. You won't make it far. Red Wolf raised his tomahawk, eyes cold. Then we'll burn the town before they catch us. Boone's eyes widened, but before he could speak again, Red Wolf ended it, quick, clean. The canyon fell silent. Sarah dropped to her knees, the adrenaline fading, exhaustion crashing down. Red Wolf checked the bodies, gathering weapons, ammo. You all right? He asked. She nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. I'm not dead. Good enough. They moved fast, dragging the bodies into the brush, erasing signs of the fight. Time was against them now. Clem wouldn't wait. As they climbed back to the mine, Sarah's mind raced. Boone was right. Clem wouldn't stop until he had her, until Red Wolf was hanging from the same tree he'd cut her down from. Inside the mine, Red Wolf lit a lantern, casting long shadows on the walls. Sarah pulled the maps from the crate, spreading them out. Jack always talked about the East Shaft, she said. Said he had a place there no one could find. Red Wolf studied the markings. Then we find it. They moved deeper into the mine, air growing colder, thick with dust. Sarah's hand brushed the walls, searching for the old signs Jack had taught her. A mark, faint, carved into the stone. She stopped. Here. Red Wolf stepped beside her, watching as she pried at the rock, revealing a narrow passage. They squeezed through, into a small chamber. In the corner, half buried, was a chest. Sarah knelt, hands trembling now for a different reason. She opened it. Gold. Coins, jewelry, a fortune in the old world's weight. She laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound. He wasn't lying. Red Wolf crouched beside her. It's enough. Enough to buy a new life. Enough to destroy Dry Creek. Sarah closed the chest, standing tall. Then let's finish it. They packed what they could, leaving the rest. Gold was power, but too much would slow them down. Outside, the sky darkened again, night falling fast. As they rode, the fire in Sarah's chest burned hotter. Clem thought he could chain her. Boone thought he could claim her. Jack thought he could use her. They all thought wrong. Now it was her turn. The wind howled over the ridge, sharp as a blade, slicing through the night as Sarah rode hard, her fingers clenched tight on the reins, gold packed tight in the saddlebags behind her. Red Wolf rode beside her, silent, blood still dark on his side, but his eyes never wavered. The town lights of Dry Creek flickered in the distance like a challenge, daring them to come closer, daring them to try. She leaned forward, the ache in her body drowned out by the pounding in her chest. Every mile between them and that cursed town was a mile of ghosts, of chains, of every word spat at her from the mouths of men who thought they could own her. Not tonight. The gold was just weight, but the fire inside her, that was something else. Red Wolf pulled ahead, signaling for a stop near an outcropping. They dismounted, breath steaming in the cold air. He knelt, checking the ground, his hand pressing against the earth. They're here, he said, voice low. Clem. Riders. Clothes. How many? She asked, already knowing the answer wouldn't matter. Enough. She looked down at the saddlebags, then at the black horizon where Dry Creek waited. We need to finish this. Red Wolf met her eyes steady, sure. Then we do it tonight. They moved quickly, leaving the horses tethered behind the rocks, carrying only what they needed. Guns, knives, dynamite. Sarah's fingers curled tight around the bundle, remembering every time they laughed at her, judged her, left her to die. She wasn't just coming for Clem, she was coming for the whole rotten town. They approached from the south, slipping through the brush, the town quieter now, most asleep, the rest hiding behind curtains. But Clem was awake. His house burned with lamplight, the sheriff's office lit up like a beacon. Red Wolf pointed. "Start there." She nodded, heart pounding as they split, Red Wolf circling wide, Sarah moving through the alleys, every step measured, every breath controlled. She reached the edge of the main street, crouched behind barrels, watching two deputies pass, lazy, unaware. She moved fast, stepping from shadow to shadow, slipping into the jailhouse through the back. Inside, it stank of sweat, whiskey, and fear. Clem's desk sat empty, papers scattered, wanted posters fluttering. Her face was on one, rough sketch, but close enough. She grabbed it, tore it in half. The dynamite felt heavy in her hands as she planted it under the window, near the wall where they locked folks up for sins real and imagined. She lit the fuse, heart steady, then stepped out, moving quick, silent, into the street. The explosion rocked the ground, windows shattering, smoke pouring into the air. Shouts rose, confusion, panic. Clem burst from the front door, gun drawn, eyes wild. "Get them! Find them now!" Sarah stepped into the open, gun raised, face lit by the fire behind her. "Looking for me?" He froze, disbelief flashing across his face. "You should be dead. You first." She fired, the shot grazing his shoulder, spinning him. Red Wolf appeared from the smoke, rifle cracking, cutting down a deputy running for cover. Clem stumbled, clutching his arm, falling back toward the saloon. Sarah followed, steps sure, rage boiling just beneath the surface. The town was waking, but no one moved to help him. They watched from windows, from doorways, the firelight reflecting in wide, frightened eyes. He kicked the door open, stumbling inside, knocking over chairs, tables, reaching for another gun. Sarah didn't wait. She followed him in, gun aimed. "Stay down, Clem." He laughed, a bitter, twisted sound. "You think you've won? Even if you kill me, they'll never let you go. They don't have to." Red Wolf entered behind her, calm, deadly. "They won't have the chance." Clem lunged, swinging wild. Sarah sidestepped, driving the butt of her gun into his jaw, dropping him hard. He lay there, bloody, panting. "You chained me to die," she said, standing over him. "Now you'll watch your world burn." She turned, stepping out into the street again, Red Wolf beside her. The fire spread fast, licking up the jailhouse walls, smoke thick in the sky. "Go home," she shouted to the watching town. "This place is done. Anyone who wants to stop us can try." No one moved. Red Wolf lit the last stick of dynamite, tossing it onto the sheriff's porch. It blew in a flash, wood splintering, glass flying. Sarah looked once more at the judgment tree, still standing, still waiting. She walked to it, gun raised, firing into the trunk until the bark split, pieces flying. Then she pulled the rope down, the same rope they tied her with, and tossed it into the flames. Clem crawled out, coughing, falling to his knees. Sarah watched him, then turned her back, walking away. They rode before dawn, the sky bleeding pale light. Behind them, Dry Creek smoldered, broken, the cries of the lawmen drowned by fire and smoke. Sarah looked ahead, hand resting on her belly. "You still want the gold?" she asked. Red Wolf shook his head. "Got what I need." She smiled, eyes on the horizon. "So did I." The sky cracked open with thunder as rain slammed down, turning the dirt road into a churned mess of mud and blood. Red Wolf gritted his teeth, one hand pressed to his side, the wound from Boone's knife refusing to close. Sarah rode ahead, her eyes locked forward, every drop of rain washing away the dust, but none of the anger. Behind them, Dry Creek was nothing but smoke and ruins, but Clem was still breathing, still out there. She could feel it, like a thorn in her side that wouldn't pull free. They reached the edge of the canyons by nightfall, sheltering under a crooked overhang, fireless, soaked through. Sarah wrapped the blanket tighter around herself, jaw clenched as she stared into the dark. Red Wolf leaned against the stone, his breast shallow, blood staining the fabric at his waist. The gold weighed heavy between them, not just in the saddlebags, but in every decision that led them here. "He won't stop," she said, voice flat, certain. "No. He'll follow. Bring more men. They'll think we're weak now." Red Wolf nodded once. "Let them." Sarah shifted, pulling out a map Jack had drawn years ago. Lines, marks, forgotten trails only he knew. But she knew them now too. She traced a path eastward, past the rivers, through territory no settler dared ride. "There's a place," she said. "Safe. Far enough. You want to run? I want to live." He looked at her, sharp and quiet. "You can't live always looking back." "I'm not." She folded the map. "I'm looking forward, to a life that doesn't end with me tied to a tree." Red Wolf's hand tightened. "We finish this." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "We don't run. We ride to him. Make sure he doesn't follow." Silence hung heavy between them, the storm easing, replaced by the soft hiss of wind over stone. "You'll die," she said. "So will he." She stared at him, heart racing, the fire inside flickering. Clem had taken everything from her. Her peace. Her safety. Her child's future. "No," she said. "We do it my way." He didn't argue, just watched as she stood, water dripping from her hair, resolve settling like iron. "We draw him out," she said. "We show him what fear feels like." "How?" She pulled out the dynamite, 3 sticks left, wrapped tight. "Like this." By dawn, they were already moving, tracking the old trails back toward the town of Brimstone, where Clem's allies waited, smug and untouchable. Sarah rode with her head high, the weight of revenge pushing her faster, harder. Red Wolf followed, pain etched into every line of his face, but steady. The rain had stopped, but the sky stayed heavy, clouds hanging low like judgment waiting to fall. Brimstone rose from the plains, dusty, mean, a place where lawmen drank with killers and no one asked why. Clem would be here, licking his wounds, gathering his strength. She could feel it, in the pit of her stomach, in the way the air seemed thicker. They didn't wait for night. They rode straight in, dust rising around them, eyes turning, whispers following. Sarah dismounted first, walking through the main street like she owned it. Red Wolf flanked her, his rifle low but ready. The saloon doors swung wide, voices dropping as they stepped inside. Clem sat at the back, drink in hand, arm in a sling, eyes narrowing the second he saw her. "You just don't know when to quit," he said. "No," she said. "I know exactly when." She pulled the bundle of dynamite, tossing it onto the table nearest him. The room froze. "Tell your men to stand down," she said, "or we all go up." Clem laughed, the sound hollow. "You wouldn't. I've got nothing left to lose." Red Wolf stepped forward. "But we can take everything from you." Guns shifted in the hands of Clem's men, but no one moved. No one breathed. "You think you're winning?" Clem snarled. "You think you scare me?" Sarah stepped closer, eyes locked on his. "I don't need to scare you. I just need to end you." A tense beat. Then Clem raised his hand, waving off his men. "What do you want?" he asked. "Your life," Red Wolf answered. Sarah shook her head. "No. I want you to live. I want you to crawl out of here, broken, and know that everywhere you go, people will remember. You chained a woman to die and she burned your world to ash." Clem's face twisted, hatred and fear clashing. "Leave," she said. "Now." Clem stood slowly, hatred in every step as he passed them, shoulders hunched. Red Wolf watched him go, eyes never blinking. Sarah turned to the rest. "Anyone else?" No one spoke. They rode out of Brimstone as the sun broke through the clouds, gold shining on the horizon. Sarah didn't look back. She didn't need to. She'd buried the past in fire and fear, and what lay ahead was hers to take. The ground trembled beneath pounding hooves. The horizon streaked with fire and dust as Sarah rode hard, her heart hammering louder than the storm rolling behind her. Every breath tasted of smoke and iron. The gold strapped tight to her saddle weighed nothing now compared to the fury burning in her chest. Ahead, Red Wolf carved the path, silent, relentless, a shadow of vengeance cutting through the dawn. Behind them, Clem was not crawling away like she'd allowed. He was hunting. Word traveled faster than bullets, and by the time they reached the canyon pass, Red Wolf spotted the trap. Men in wait, rifles glinting, eyes cold with purpose. "They're here," he muttered, pulling up his horse. Sarah's knuckles whitened around the reins, eyes scanning the ridgeline. "He didn't take the warning." "No. He's too proud to die quiet." They dismounted, moving quickly through the rocks, every step calculated. The air was still, holding its breath as they climbed higher, closer to the edge where death waited. Sarah's blood pounded, not with fear, but with resolve. She was done running. Done surviving. It was time to end it. A shot cracked, missing her shoulder by inches, splintering the stone. She dropped low, rolling behind cover, gun already drawn. Red Wolf returned fire, one of Clem's men toppling, screaming as he hit the ground. "We flank them," he said, eyes locked on the ridge. Sarah nodded, darting left, feet kicking loose gravel as she moved. Another shot, then another, missed. She pressed against the rock, breast shallow, before rising quick and firing twice. One man fell, clutching his chest, while the others scrambled to reload. From above, Clem's voice rang out, sharp and filled with venom. "You think you can kill me out here? I own this land. You're nothing." Sarah didn't answer. She climbed higher, legs burning, lungs tight, until she reached the top. Clem stood there, alone now, gun aimed, face twisted in rage. "Drop it!" he shouted. She kept walking. "I said drop it! You never gave me a chance to speak," she said, gun still raised. "Now I'm done listening." He fired. The bullet tore past her, grazing her arm, hot pain flashing. She didn't flinch. She squeezed the trigger. Clem staggered, shot in the leg, falling to his knees. She stood over him, blood dripping down her sleeve, heart pounding so loud it drowned out the wind. "You want to chain me again?" she asked, voice low. He spat at her feet, eyes wild. "You're nothing but a whore with a bastard in her belly." She raised the gun. "I'm free." Her shot echoed through the canyon, sharp and final. Clem collapsed still, dust settling around him like a shroud. Sarah stood there, breath heavy, the weight of years lifting in an instant. Red Wolf appeared behind her, his steps quiet. "It's done," he said. She nodded, lowering her gun, eyes never leaving Clem's body. "It is." They buried him shallow, no marker, no words. Just dirt and silence. The sun climbed higher, golden light spilling across the plains as they rode away, not fast, not with fear, but steady, with purpose. The gold clinked softly, but neither spoke of it. It wasn't about the gold anymore. It never really was. They reached a wide open field by midday, the grass swaying, untouched by blood or fire. Sarah stopped, dismounting, standing tall as the wind caught her hair. She placed her hand on her belly, feeling the life within her move. "This is where I start," she whispered. Red Wolf joined her, eyes on the horizon. "You have a name?" "Sarah Whitlock." "No," he said. "Not anymore." She smiled, slow and sure. "You're right." They rode on, leaving behind the smoke, the chains, the ghosts. Ahead lay nothing but land and sky, and the promise of something new. They didn't look back. They didn't need to.